Sorry, did that just happen? Did I just miss that?
You missed it.
Oh, that's so funny. All right. Well, so did you bring us in, John?
No, you missed it by less than 5 seconds.
Okay. Well, welcome to DeProgram with Ted Rall and John Kiriakou. It's Monday, December 15th, 2025. As I knock my mic stand over, it's one of those days. Anyway, kind of a bleak weekend,
Yeah,
John.
Man, it sure was. I'll tell you, Ted, I went to bed at 11 last night. I kept hitting refresh just to see what was new about Rob Reiner. And then woke up at 3. Just I was dreaming about Sydney and Brown and Rob Reiner and all hell's breaking loose. And I've been up since 3 o'clock. Figured I might as well write an op-ed and make a couple of $100. But otherwise, it was just such an awful weekend.
It is.
You know?
Yeah, and we'll get into all that. And obviously, there's a lot of other stuff to talk about. I mean, I didn't even put this in the rundown, but today is the deadline for the Affordable Care Act subsidies enrollment.
Oh, my God.
Today is the last day for 2026 that an American can enroll for the ACA. Tens of millions of Americans probably waited till today thinking that maybe Congress would have gotten their act together, and they're not going to get done for thousands of dollars a month that they can't afford for health insurance.
Yeah.
It looks like Congress is going to do what they do best. They're going to disappoint, and that's going to have political ramifications. I can see the Republicans getting more nervous than I even expected them to. Funny story about the coinage for the 250th anniversary of the U.S. Presidential library stories will sort of
all things,
sort of presidential libraries. And this funny story from the New York, funny but terrifying story from the New York Times about this lost nuclear device that's been missing in the Himalayas in northern India since 1965.
Crazy.
And funny, I've actually been to that area, so we can talk about that.
Wow.
So anyway, I guess we should probably talk about the main event here. So this was a horrific weekend. We'll start sort of like from granular and go meta. So granular, director Rob Reiner. It's hard to overstate what a gifted film director and important, influential film director he was. He and his wife both dead in their home in Brentwood. My first thought turned to O.J. Simpson, but I guess we can't blame him.
And it's only like 0.4 of a mile from Nicole Brown's house.
Weird, very weird. And my first thought was to blame the LAPD and their communication was incredibly incompetent, John. They literally like nobody could understand what they were talking about. Like, we're not saying what it not is, and everyone's like, what?
Well, the statement they released was a 78-year-old man and a 65-year-old woman were found dead in Rob Reiner's house. I was like, what the? So I said,
Google their ages.
I said, hey, SIRI. I don't want to say it because it's sitting right here next to me. How old are Rob Reiner and his wife? And it said Rob Reiner and his wife are 78 and 65. I was like, oh my God.
So yeah, we know what happened here. Then my thought turned to what happened to Gene Hackman and his wife, because there's a similar age difference.
Exactly my thought.
But then I thought, well, Rob Reiner is not incapacitated like Gene Hackman was.
I just saw an interview with him 3 days ago.
He just released a new film. He just did a sequel to Spinal Tap. It's out now in theaters, and so it's crazy. So it looks like the person of interest that the LAPD is seeking is their son, who's had problems with addiction, and even Rob has indicated that he was less than sympathetic at times to. I mean, look, that's a very, very hard road for any parent. So, but anyway,
it just goes to show you really never know what's happening in other people's families.
That's really true.
You just never know.
Behind closed doors, it's always a secret, right? When you drive by people's homes, it's like, who knows what's going on there. And then there's this Brown University student. Basically, there's a classroom in the engineering school. A gunman, still on the lam, by the way. He comes into the classroom, shoots at least 11 people. 2 died, 9 are injured. And then last and certainly not least is this anti-Semitic shooting. Father and son suspects who allegedly killed 15 or more. We don't know what is going to happen. Victims at this Hannukah gathering at Bondi Beach in Australia. Interestingly, though, the bookend of that is the hatred is also kind of a little bit countermanded by the Good Samaritan, who was a Muslim shopkeeper who witnessed the whole thing. He was unarmed because Australia doesn't really have a lot of guns, really, and anymore. And he put a stop to it. He was the person who single-handedly tackled one of the gunmen and brought an end to this horrible mass shooting.
Did you see the video by any chance?
I did see the video.
Wow. It's incredible. I was surprised at the restraint, actually, that the guy used. I know myself, and I know that I probably would have tried to disarm the guy, but had I disarmed him, I would have shot him.
I would have either shot him or beaten him to a pulp, for the simple reason that my philosophy, if I'm involved in a physical confrontation, is I'm afraid for my life and I don't want that person to get back up.
Exactly.
I want them to be unconscious. Dead is fine.
I'll tell you, in CIA weapons training, we had this session. I remember it as clear as though it were yesterday. We had a session where one of the instructors said, listen, off the record, God forbid any of you should have to fire a shot in the line of duty. But if you do, remember these words: I feared for my life. He said, repeat it to yourself. I feared for my life. And they taught us that too. Only draw the weapon if you are prepared to kill the person. You're not going to aim at the leg or at the shoulder. You're going to
like in the movies.
No way, man. I feared for my safety should be the first words that come out of your mouth.
Yeah, I think was it Hang 'em High, or was it The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, where Clint Eastwood's sidekick has a racket where he shoots the rope from far away.
Oh, I remember that.
And it's like
that was Hang 'em High.
Hang 'em High. And
I think so.
And when movies like that came out, I think that was understood to be a joke, right? It was, and because Americans and other filmmakers were familiar enough with firearms to know that that wasn't possible, and somehow it became a trope, like that you could shoot. Why don't you shoot? Even the president has said that at one point, like shoot the protesters in the legs or something like that. It's like, no, that's just not how. You're lucky if you get them, if you shoot them at all, right?
Yeah.
Like. It's like, especially if you're in in a stressful situation, it's not the shooting range, right?
No,
you don't have time. Things are moving, people are moving, you're moving.
That's right.
So obviously the blame game is afoot. There was kind of I thought it was a little cringy to see how Mayor-elect Zoran Mamdani responded to all this, as if somehow he was, obviously they were anticipating that right-wingers were going to say, look, this is because of people like you. And it's like, this has nothing to do with New York City at all. And it has nothing to do with Mamdani. And just because he's Muslim, he doesn't owe any explanations to anyone. My take would have been like, express your sympathies like the same way you would express your sympathies for anyone.
Exactly.
But you don't need a fulsome statement.
Exactly. I have a friend from home who posts right-wing tropes on Facebook all day long. How the guy earns a living, I have no idea. But when Mamdani was elected, it was just meme after meme of the World Trade Center burning and saying, we tried to keep them out. Now they've gotten all the way in. And I wrote back and I was like, I didn't know the Indians did 9/11. All this time, I thought it was the Saudis.
We should take it up with Modi.
Oh my God! Yeah, exactly.
Like new information, breaking news. 24 years later. No, I mean it's yeah. So I mean, do we? Yeah. What do we want? We have a lot of questions to answer. We have a lot to. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I don't have anything to say about this other than I think we're going to see. Okay, we are going to play blame game here. My blame game is going to be on Israel. So real anti-Semitism is way up
from me
because of Israel's actions in Gaza.
In fact, the first thing I thought yesterday, as soon as I saw this on the news, Benjamin Netanyahu made a statement, and he just blasted the Australians that they've done nothing to rein in anti-Semitism. It's like, are you kidding? You caused this.
You're the biggest problem.
You're the one that's creating anti-Semitism.
Yeah.
The Australians. Give me a break.
That's a joke. Yeah, I mean, what are the Australians supposed to do? I mean, you know,
exactly.
Like, are they supposed to personally hold the hands of every Jewish person in Australia and provide them with personal protection? I mean,
good grief.
They had a giant beach gathering.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I you know, it's like that. How are you supposed to protect that? I mean, I'm sure they were there. The Australians do a pretty good job. I don't know. It's just
they do. The Australians actually do a good job. And gun violence is exceedingly rare in Australia. You know, they had a mass shooting, what was it, 10 years ago. And they instituted some of the toughest gun control laws in the world. And it really has
That's how it is down there in the antipodes, right? Like same thing in, after the shooting in Christchurch.
That's right.
In New Zealand. So obviously this is horrible. So we've got an ad. Robbie, can you just go ahead and put that up, and we'll do it in the midst of our convo here. Okay. So, in terms of the Rob Reiner investigation, I don't have a lot to say about Brown because we just don't really know what happens there. And so when we have more facts to talk about, if they're of interest, we should mention them. All right, here's the ad, and then we can talk about Rob. You've probably noticed Rumble is growing fast and it's not slowing down. They're building a real alternative to big tech that puts creators first and actually protects free speech. And now there's Rumble Premium, an easy way to upgrade your experience. With Premium, you get ad-free viewing across the platform, no pre-rolls, no interruptions, just the content you came for. Plus, Premium members unlock exclusive content like bonus videos, behind-the-scenes drops, and more from your favorite creators. Right now, Rumble is offering $10 off an annual subscription. Just go to rumble.com/premium and use the promo code studio at checkout. That's rumble.com/premium, promo code studio. No ads, more freedom, and content you actually care about. That's the deal. So, look, we want to be careful here, but it does look, we do know here's what we know. We know that Rob and Michele Reiner both were killed. Killed it's a homicide investigation.
Yeah.
Stabbed to death.
Crazy.
You know, that tends to, you know, from a forensic standpoint, tends to indicate something personal more than a shooting. The 32-year-old son had a problem with addiction. He's a person of interest. They had a fraught relationship, as parents often do. But apparently, you know, Rob admitted himself that he didn't handle it very well. And in the meantime, America has just lost one of its, I mean, seriously, the Princess Bride. This is Spinal Tap.
Bad about this. Spinal Tap.
I mean, that's a colossus. I can't even count how many times I've watched it. You watch it. If you've never watched it before, the number of lines that you've heard,
oh my God,
like it goes to 11, like, is just amazing. Right? Like,
yeah. And you may ask, how much more black could it be? And the answer is none. None more black. Absolute classic.
Yeah. So great. So great.
And Variety magazine too. Last week, Variety magazine had an article on the 100 greatest comedies of all time. And he had like 5 of them.
Yeah, well, that's
5 that were his.
That makes sense. The pacing is always just right.
Oh my God, yes.
So yeah, no, I mean, it's seriously.
DeProgram.
I mean, you know, obviously he was 78 years old. He lived a full life expectancy.
Yeah.
But we've lost some. We probably lost some more great films that we would have.
Yeah, you can say that. You can say that again. His dad just died. What, 2 or 3 years ago?
Wow. So
yeah.
So he's obviously longevity in the family.
Yeah.
So we'll see it's another tragedy, and if it is the son, that means like basically 3 people have been lost, not really 2.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, I mean, look, I'm not going to make dumb comments about, like, I mean, you know, violence. I mean, violence is part of human society. It always has been. It always will be. Should we do some? Do you have anything to add to that before we take some questions, John?
No, there's really nothing to say. I will say I'm surprised and disappointed that here we are. Let's see. They were found yesterday afternoon at 6:00 Eastern time.
Mm-hmm.
So here we are, more than 36 hours later, and the NYPD still has not secured a search warrant that would allow them to search the house. I do not understand.
I don't get it. No.
I
mean, we just don't have a very competent system here. All right, FUSO, thanks for the donation. R.I.P. Meathead, and they indeed reference to All in the Family. Johnny Jackson, John, personal question. Do you like your mouse pad? Assuming it's arrived.
I do indeed. And I'm using my new mouse right now.
Is it better?
It's much better.
All right.
And you know what? It's actually more comfortable too. It's ergonomic. So it fits right in my hand.
Or it's not the mouse pad, it's the mouse.
It's the mouse. Yeah.
The pad is a whole different thing. By the way, it's hard to find a good. Remember how mouse pads were everywhere?
It was a thing.
They used to give them away.
Yeah.
And stuff. And now it's hard to find a good mouse pad.
It is.
I have this retro mouse pad. By the way, good luck replacing this with the little bump in the front so you can rest your wrist. And like, that's a huge thing, especially because I broke my wrist just about a year ago, a little bit over a year ago, and it still hurts. So that support is really worth it. Another question for you, John. Okay, that's a multiple question for the same thing. Okay,
there is a question about Sydney and a
Bondi
speech I'm going to give.
Do we think the attack is suspicious? Already used to manufacture consent for war with Iran? Is that the question?
It's not a conspiracy. It's an anti-Semitic attack. Two guys went and just opened fire to kill as many people as they can. I think
motivated probably by Israel.
Motivated by Israel and Israel's treatment of the Palestinians. And there it is. I don't see a conspiracy.
Sorry, what was the question you had?
Somebody asked a question about a speech that I'm going to give in Sydney. The answer is yes. I'm going to Sydney around February 3rd. I'm going to be with Gabriel Shipton. We're going to go to Sydney, Brisbane, Adelaide, Perth, and Hobart. And we're going to try to get the word out about an Australian whistleblower who has been incarcerated for about a year now after blowing the whistle on Australian war crimes in Afghanistan. But we don't have any of the details yet. So I don't know the exact dates and I don't know the locations, but I promise I'm going to put it on the website and my Substack, and I'll put it out everywhere.
Okay. Okay. Question from Nicholas Francos. Did we see what happened in Syria?
Yeah.
3 U.S. soldiers killed by ISIS, presumably. I would agree with that. What do you think is really going on? Isn't the senior ISIS leader the president of Syria now? Well,
that's a good question.
The former senior. Well, he wasn't really. He wasn't the leader of ISIS, right?
No, he was one of the original co-founders.
Yes,
but left ISIS a long time ago.
So, yeah. I mean, this is not. There was a similar incident at one of these like watchtower kind of facilities in the Syrian desert. Mm-hmm. Wasn't this about 2 years ago, John? Maybe.
Yes.
Where one American soldier, I believe it was assassinated or shot or whatever. I mean, look, this is the U.S. occupying an Arab country.
Exactly.
And so it's not surprising that Arabs don't like it. And they're going to take pot shots at our troops. Mm-hmm. They shouldn't be there. There's no
reason for. Yeah, exactly. There's no reason at all for us to be there.
So I think this is the responsibility of the Pentagon. Hegseth should pull them out. The president should pull them out. It's just like, the only country prior to the fall of Assad that had any legal basis for being in Syria was Russia, because the Syrian government invited them in because they were trying to prevent this kind of thing from happening.
Hey, Ted, did you happen to see the swipe that Tucker Carlson took at Lindsey Graham over the weekend?
No, I missed it.
Oh, it was just perfect. Lindsey Graham flew out to wherever, I think it was Brussels, to meet with Zelensky. And he's sitting across the table from Zelensky, and he's congratulating Zelensky on the number of Russians that the Ukrainians have killed. And he says, "You're killing a lot of people. You're killing all the right people. It's the best money the American Congress has ever spent." And Tucker's like, "What the fuck? For Lindsey Graham, it's always about killing people.
Yeah.
He's only happy when we're out killing people. And it just reminded me of Syria as well. Like, what in the world are we doing in Syria?
For sure. I mean, yeah. And not to mention, look, killing people, even if you're a heartless bastard and you don't care about human life, it doesn't really win wars or conflicts. I mean, if that were true, we would be currently occupying Vietnam. We
right.
killed 2 million of them. They killed 58,000 of ours, 10,000 of whom died in accidents, right? So they only really killed 48,000 of ours. I mean, Ho Chi Minh said that to John Foster Dulles when they met, right? He famously said, you will win every battle and we will nevertheless win the war. And he was right. They did. That's how this worked. In almost every war that the U.S. has lost, in all of them, right? We killed a lot more of the locals than they killed
A lot more
us.
People. Yes.
Yeah. Killing isn't a metric. You still hear that on NPR, like, oh, Ukraine killed so many Russians, which first of all is unverified. We don't really know that, right? Maybe it's true. Maybe it's not true. But the point is, they're like, but so therefore Russia should make accommodations. It's like, Russia won World War II. It lost 28 million people. It's like they still won. It's not about that.
Even in Afghanistan, I remember in the immediate aftermath of 9/11, General Tommy Franks, who was the commander of CENTCOM at the time, would say things like, we have killed 100 Al-Qaeda leaders. We've almost wiped them out. And then 6 months later, it's like, we've killed 1,500 Al-Qaeda leaders. We've almost wiped them out. And then a year later, we've killed 5,000 Al-Qaeda leaders. It's like, dude, Al-Qaeda is growing because of you.
Right.
Al-Qaeda only had but a couple of hundred people in the beginning.
That's right. Was it the Friday Night Follies? It was the something Follies during the Vietnam War, where the Pentagon would announce their casualty figures and the media would dutifully traipse in to listen to these numbers that may or may not have been true, as if they were meaningful, right? I remember as a kid the numbers of like Viet Minh and Viet Cong and all these things killed. They were announced literally at the same time as the results of that day's NASDAQ and Dow Jones Industrial Average. Today on the Dow Jones Industrial Average, down 2 points, 220 killed in Vietnam, 3 Americans, 240. That's how they were. It meant absolutely nothing.
Nothing. Ted, I'll tell you another funny thing. I worked for a guy at the agency when I was a brand new junior analyst. He told me the funniest doggone story. It was about how he really made his career as an analyst. He was working on Vietnam, specifically on North Vietnam. And he's looking at overhead imagery one day and he says, oh my God, it looks like they're starting to clear land in the jungle to build a road. And if I follow the trajectory, the road is going to China. So he writes this article for the President's Daily Brief, page 1. The North Vietnamese are building this road. It's going to China. So over the course of like a year, he's following the construction of this road. And indeed, he's right. It's going to China. Next thing you know, the director of the office comes to him and says, the president wants a briefing on the road. He gets in this chauffeured car. He goes to the White House. The president's there with the vice president and the CIA director. This is during the Nixon administration. And he's got these top secret overhead satellite photos and he's showing the construction of the road. Okay. Years later, we're friends with the Vietnamese. And he makes his first liaison visit to meet with Vietnamese intelligence. And at the end of this, 3 days of dinners and receptions and such, he says, I got to ask you guys about this road. I made my career. I briefed the president. I got 5 promotions. It was all about the road. His whole career was about the road. And they were like, yeah. The Chinese gave us some money. And they said, listen, since trade would be so much easier with the road, why don't you just use the money to build a road? And they were like, oh, okay. They built the road. That was it.
That was the great
Intelligence was all over the new road.
That's insane. and totally like classic and all the time. Unsung Pat, thanks for the money. We reserve the label. This is just more commentary. We reserve the label horrific bloody weekend for acute narratable tragedies close to home, while the chronic horrific bloody reality of ongoing global conflict becomes a normalized backdrop. Well, that's true. I remember I spent a couple of weeks in Karachi, Pakistan. At that time, there was a roughly 20 to 30 bombings a day in Karachi, terrorist bombings, probably from Islamists. And they weren't in the news anywhere, including in Karachi, because it's just part of the scenery. If something happens all the time, by definition, it's not news.
Yep. I've said before, if I could interrupt you for 1 second.
Please.
I've said before, again, when I was a junior analyst, I used to volunteer for weekend duty all the time, so I could make a little bit of overtime, save some money for a house. So there was a bus bombing in Israel one weekend, and like 2 people got killed and whatever, a dozen injured. And I had to call the analyst in, and the analyst had to write something for the president. And I put it in the weekend notes that you used to leave on everybody's chair before the days of email. And the Sri Lanka analyst came up to me Monday morning, and he says, bus bombing in Israel, huh? And I said, yeah. He said, 2 people got killed. I said, right. He said, you know how many Sri Lankans were killed this weekend? 65. 65 people were killed in Sri Lanka this weekend, and nobody gives a shit.
Yeah.
It's the world we live in.
Sudan right now.
Yeah, Sudan right now.
For example.
Because Sudan doesn't have oil or diamonds. It just has sand and gravel. Nobody's interested.
Yeah. Manya the cat. Yeah. Mouse pad merch for DeProgram. That's a good idea. I like that. Okay. Yeah. So Polar Plunger is saying that according to the Syrian Interior Ministry, the gunman was a member of the Syrian government's own security forces.
That's what happened in Afghanistan about 1,000 times.
All the time. Mm-hmm. Yeah, people would join the Northern Alliance. I always called them the Northern Alliance military, but the North, they would join the puppet government regime. And I don't know if they were radicalized before they went in. Probably some. Probably. And they were probably Taliban agents. Mm-hmm. And then, but others probably were recruited, like, hey, do the right thing for your country. Question for you, John, from Light Fixing. Could you please explain the difference between Sunni and Shia as it pertains to radical Islam, or is there not really a meaningful difference?
At the end of the day, the difference isn't meaningful, but there's a chasm that separates Sunnis from Shias. Rather than talk about it for an hour, which we could
easily,
the easy way to look at it is thusly. And I used to push back on this, but I don't anymore because I've come to believe it. The Shias are akin to the Catholics of the Muslim world. They have a hierarchy of ayatollahs. You could be an imam. Above him is the Hujjatul Islam. Above him is the ayatollah. Above him is the grand ayatollah. It's like the Pope, right? The Sunnis don't have any such formal structure. Anybody can be the prayer leader.
Well, now, post World War I, right?
Well, no, I mean,
what about the Caliph?
Yeah, that was more political though than anything. Okay. That was a political leader who had religious credentials.
Okay,
there are still people with religious credentials, like the members of the Saudi ulama, for example.
Because like Bin Laden and other radicals, they always wanted the return of the caliphate. They hold the West responsible for that, rightly so.
But Bin Laden et al. Had 0 religious credentials. Nothing. Never studied the religion. Never.
Okay, so as it pertains to, sorry, you were saying, as it pertains to radicalism.
And the differences are even more stark physically, where Shia mosques are absolutely gorgeous. They use a lot of mosaic tile and geometric designs. They're absolutely beautiful. Just like Catholic and Orthodox churches are so beautifully decorated. Sunni mosques are just generally a great big empty room painted white.
They're austere.
austere.
Yeah, and Shia carpets are much more flamboyant.
Oh my gosh, yes.
They allow imagery of animals and plants and stuff.
That's right.
That's how you can tell if it's an Iranian carpet.
That's exactly
versus
right.
Like an Afghan carpet is going to be geometric.
Yeah, and for the Sunnis,
so culturally,
yes,
yeah, stick is further up ass with Sunnis.
I think that's exactly right.
they're the Missouri Methodists of the Muslim world.
That's right.
This is radically simplified for the purpose of
Robbie's going to get mad at us. We have to make sure we don't go too far.
No, we won't go too far. No need. I don't even know the answer to this question yet. But plans for New Year's Eve? Question. Thanks for the money. Me home all alone as always. I'm generally try to be alone for New Year's Eve. I feel like New Year's Eve is amateur night and it's full of drunks on the road. For me, if I want to go out to a bar drinking, I'd rather go like on a cold Tuesday when no one's around and the place is quiet and dead. That's just how I am.
Like the place you and I went drinking the first time we got together.
Oh, fantastic.
After we started the show.
So great. Yeah. Nice. You want to answer that question or not?
You know what? I'm going to a wedding in Sydney, Australia.
Oh, wow.
On New Year's Eve.
That sounds lovely.
Yeah. I'm very excited, actually.
All right.
I got to go to Australia in December and again in February. It's going to be
holding you personally responsible for fighting all anti-Semitism in Australia.
Yeah, exactly. It's going to be on me. Of course, I am, according to the political director of the Israeli Foreign Minister's office, I am a noted anti-Semite.
Of course. Well, if you're going to be an anti-Semite, you should be a noted.
Would be a noted one at least.
Yeah, always.
Yeah.
By the way, this is sarcastic.
Yes, sarcastic, everybody.
Yes,
please.
Elliot Covert. I can't believe we have to say that, but yeah, we do. Elliot Covert, did you hear Tucker? So this is for you, John, obviously, because you're the Tucker connection here. Say that he was going to buy a house in Qatar. Thoughts? He also wounded Palestinian refugees in Doha this weekend.
Yeah, I did hear him say that. The last time I spoke to him, he talked about buying a house in Dubai. But I took that as kidding. I did hear him say that he was going to buy a house in Doha. I think he's still kidding. He lives so far out in the sticks, in like deep in the forest in Maine. When I flew up there the last time, it took me 2 hours to drive from the airport in Portland. It was ridiculous. So
and during the snow, it must be rough to get in and out.
And I'll tell you what, he was a half an hour late for our dinner because he had been fly fishing. And when he pulled in his reel and turned to walk out of the river, there was a moose staring at him. Oh. And he said he just stood there in this stare down with the moose for a half an hour. Because they're big and they'll get up and they'll go like this and they'll club you to death.
Yeah, they're dangerous. Mean.
Yeah. And so
they're territorial.
So he just had to stand there in the river until the moose got bored and walked away.
Local problems. I had a friend who attended University of Alaska. He said there were, mooses, plural, meese, all over the campus, and that that students had to learn. Like sometimes you're late for class because of a showdown like that.
Yeah.
And you're not going to win. By the way, even John Deere will do that too. They will probably not kill you, but they can really hurt
but they'll stomp you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, most people think of deer as shy and they'll just run away. And mostly, Roby Bang Bang. What's our take on Candace talking to Erica?
They're having their big tete-a-tete today. I think it's today, right?
It is today.
Tucker said something over the weekend on his podcast that just threw me for a loop. He likes to make fun of Candace. He likes Candace, but he thinks Candace is a little nutty, as do I. I think Candace is a lot nutty, actually.
Yeah, for sure.
But anyway, he said that Candace has been very specific in saying that the Egyptian Air Force has been following Charlie Kirk's wife and has been following her for many months. And he says, I know that to be 100% true. I was like, what?
How?
What are you talking about?
Yeah, why?
The Egyptian Air Force doesn't give a shit about Charlie Kirk or his wife.
Oh, yeah, why should they?
And what are they, just flying around Arizona, right? Hovering over her house?
Yeah. Why Egypt?
Come on, man.
Well, but I'm glad that the subject of Erica Kirk came up because rumors are flying all throughout the world of American politics, that basically she'll become the J.D. Vance, in order to become the heir apparent to MAGA world in a post-Trump situation, will divorce Usha, who is an immigrant or has dark skin and therefore won't fly as well with MAGA world, and marry the sainted widow Erica Kirk. I have one problem with this theory, which is that, like me, J.D. Vance is from southwestern Ohio and from a poor family, and therefore not stupid, and whatever else we think about him. And the thing is, he can get divorced and get away with that. But Erica Kirk loses her position as sainted widow if she becomes the homewrecker of the Vance family. So even if, and I'm just assuming that these two are attracted or interested in each other. I don't even know that to be true at all. None of us do. It may be a complete crap, just because of that one photo that, everyone, talked about them, hugging. That could just be a misplaced hand on her part. Who knows?
It was the photo, and then his completely unrelated comment that he hoped that his wife would, come to Jesus someday or some such thing.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, look, for all I know, all is well in Usha JD world, although there's rumors that it's not. Apparently she's a Democrat, so she's maybe not. But she knew what he was doing. I don't know. It's just, but what do you think of what do the rumor? I don't care about the substance of the rumors. What does it mean when these kind of rumors go around? This kind of, not really palace intrigue, but like when this kind of gossiping is at the center of the world of politics.
Honestly, I think they're just meaningless distractions.
I think it has meaning.
Do you really?
Yeah, I think the meaning of it is the fact that it's happening, and those are the kind of discussions that people have in non-democracies.
That's a good point.
Think about it, right? Like if you're in Qatar, like, oh, what's this one doing? What's that one doing? This one's cheating with that one. It's we're not having discussions about politics, about policy. We're having discussions about who does J.D. Vance want to fuck?
Yeah, that's a good point.
Anyway, so to me, that's it.
Well, let me ask you though.
Go.
For people like Candace, Frasmataz commented that Candace she's the new Alex Jones. I think that's probably right.
Yeah.
But is she doing this just for clicks? The thing with Mrs. Macron, Brigitte Macron, or the thing with Erica Kirk, or these fights that she's having with different people, is that just for clicks, or do you think she really believes this stuff? Either way, she's the Alex Jones, because Alex Jones now says that, oh no, he never meant any of it. It was all about entertainment.
I don't know, John, have you ever, I've been asked that about myself. Like, do you really believe the things you say, Ted? And it's like, of course I believe the things I said. If I was going to come up with beliefs that I didn't really believe in, I'd come up with some that would have me on MS Now every night.
Exactly.
Or Fox or something.
Exactly.
These beliefs are not making me wealthy. Like J.D. Vance, I'm not stupid. I could definitely do a better job sucking up to the power elite. So I don't know. Because of my own personal experience, and also my personality, I'm very literal and to a fault. And like, if someone just sort of says like, this is what I believe, I take them at face value unless I have proof to the contrary. Now, Rush Limbaugh, for example, I know did not believe, he wasn't even a conservative. It was all an act. An act. He voted Democratic.
Completely an act.
Which to me is bizarre. It must be the level of psychological, dissonance in your, must be ripping your soul apart to get up every morning, unless you just don't really care about politics and it's just like an actor reading lines.
The Republican woman, the blonde with the really long hair, she's kind of out of vogue now because she was a neocon. She wrote books and books and books about,
Ann Coulter.
Ann Coulter, thank you.
Who I threatened to sue once, but some other time.
One of my closest friends from college lives in LA. And I was out in LA and I called him and I said, hey, I'm in town. Let's get together for dinner. He says, awesome. Let's meet up in Koreatown. There's this restaurant that he loved in Koreatown. Do you mind if I bring a friend? He says. I said, no, the more the merrier.
Sure.
He walks in, with Ann Coulter. And I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. So it turns out they were dating at the time.
Oh yeah. She got around.
She could not have been any lovelier, which threw me for a loop. And it made me realize that it was all an act.
She's very shy too.
She's very shy. Very meek.
She and I are both distributed by the same syndicate, or well, we were. Oh. And there was a syndicate party, and I saw her at the party, and I wanted to pitch, and I still think this would have been a good idea, a Ted and Ann left versus right yell fest show.
Awesome.
Right? I mean, far left versus far right. She's very intelligent. She saw me coming. She ran away. I think, I'm tall. I think she was thinking I was like physically threatening or something.
Oh,
I wanted to just talk to her and have a drink and pitch it to her. And later I learned like, oh, she was scared of you. And I'm like,
that's nuts.
And so she's like a little bird.
She
dated Bill Maher too.
Yeah, she dated Bill Maher too. She's since broken up with my friend, but I was shocked at like all through the conversation, completely mainstream positions. It was all about selling books. It was all about getting on TV. She had some newsletter that she was trying to sell,
And she's a firebrand.
Oh yeah. It's all an act.
I mean, yeah, I have a hard time. I mean, obviously you went to prison for what you believe. So
seriously,
I mean, there's no, your credentials are unimpeachable. Okay, so let's talk. Oh, well, we have
another ad.
18 minutes left. Let's put up an ad and get to our other stories. Looking for smarter ways to browse and enjoy your favorite content without ads? Get the Perplexity Pro bundle with Rumble Premium for just $19.99 a month. When you sign before December 31st, normally a $29.99 value, with Rumble Premium, you'll get an ad-free viewing experience across all your devices and access to exclusive premium content, like the show that John and I just recorded over the weekend about our favorite books. No interruptions, just the videos and streams you love anytime, anywhere. Plus, Perplexity Pro boosts your productivity with unlimited research, unlimited uploads, exclusive member perks, and access to the latest and most advanced AI models for faster, smarter answers every day. Save over 30% on this powerful bundle. Head to rumble.com/premium before December 31st to sign and unlock your premium experience. All right, John, we will continue to answer your questions. I'm scared that we wouldn't get to this, so I want to skip to Dude, Where's My Nuke? The New York Times reported this. Did you know about this story, John?
No, and 3 different people sent it to me. Saying,
I'm sure.
You've got to see this. Did you know about this? No, I never knew about it.
So do you want to tee it up or?
The CIA in the 1950s, in response to what appeared to be a Chinese nuclear test, had a group of CIA officers who were experienced mountain climbers climb like one of the tallest mountains in the world on the edge of Tibet with a nuke and with some kind of testing equipment in order to set up a camp up there pointed at China so they could spy on Chinese, nuclear testing. And they lost the nuke.
Yeah, I mean, so they had Indian partners who were basically their Sherpas.
Yes.
So they climb up there with the CIA team goes up there. Presumably they had the best climbers they could, but they weren't like the climbers like the Indians were.
No.
They go up there, and as anybody who's ever watched Into Thin Air knows, can happen. The weather turns bad. So they're in a panic. The Indian commander is told, basically has to decide what he's going to do. He pulls his men out. He's like, get the fuck out of there and leave the thing there. We'll get it later. Like, just leave it. Now, so it's a generator, right? It's not a bomb, but it's a generator that's analogous to the nuclear generators that's used for long distance space probes that, like, for example, Voyager in 1976, that's still working all these years later. And basically it's just power that goes on forever, kind of. So it's got uranium 238 and plutonium 239, both of which are highly obviously radioactive and highly toxic. No detonation device because it's not a bomb. But it's very dangerous, and it's not going to blow up, but you can get a major radioactive leak. In 1960, so they leave it up there. In 1966, there's a mission by the Indians to go up and try to get it back. It fails. They go back in 1967. Again, they can't find it. And when they go up there, they find that the ledge where it was is completely gone. Everything's gone. They just find like a stray cable wire. And it's like, oops. They basically figure it fell a couple thousand feet down a crevasse. There's no fucking way to get it. It's up there forever. Adding to the fun, this is at the headwaters of the Ganges River, which is, aside from being a major tributary like the Mississippi River is for the United States, it's also, sacred for Hindus.
Yeah.
I've been up there. I've been to that area of India and Pakistan, the northern areas. I've crossed a rope bridge over the Ganges up there. Let me tell you, it's one of the most terrifying experiences I have. It's one of the most terrifying experiences you could ever have. It's literally thousands of feet over. Yeah. You can barely see the river snaking below. And a lot of the boards are missing. Some of them have been stolen for firewoods by the locals. It's basically 4 ropes. So there's 2 ropes to hold the boards and 2 ropes that are your handrail, John.
Oh my God.
And the wind is something fierce. So the wind, so the rope's going back and forth 30, 40, 50 feet, like creaking. It's old, and you're holding on to both of these things. Anyway, the point is that's the kind of place where they were. And so now, because of climate change, the glaciers are melting, and that's causing all sorts of problems. Like, for example, the Lake Sarez problem in Tajikistan that we can talk about some other time. But with the waters melting, there's concern that all the radioactivity could get out and into the Ganges.
That's right.
Now, as a former physics student, I have to say, John, I'm not that worried because water makes radioactivity go away. And if it goes into the water, it's not like you're gonna have radioactive Ganges all the way out to the Indian Ocean. That's not gonna happen. But what you could do, you really could have a major Chernobyl type event, like in terms of radioactive release in northern India, that could, kill people and elevate massive cancer risk and all that. I mean, it could be a giant disaster. It could be leaking right now.
That's nuts, but totally believable.
So I don't know. So the question now is, what should I mean? The Indian government has been concerned about that. They showed an image of some report that the Indian government commissioned back in the 1980s in the New York Times article. So obviously they're well aware. It seems to me like, if for no other reason, but I feel like for just because it's the right thing to do, but also it'd be great PR for the U.S. to say, we clean up our messes, and we're sorry about this, but we're going to send in, team from the International Atomic Energy Commission and our top nuclear experts, and we're going to try to retrieve this thing.
Make it right, yeah, but we won't do that. And even if we did, they probably wouldn't announce it. Although I would, because it's been made public.
Yeah, it's public now. There's nothing classified about it.
It's crazy.
Wow. Hey, just a little bit of news. Perhaps partly on the strength of our call-in show on Friday, which did very well, by the way. So if you guys want more call-ins, let us know, because we're thinking of doing that again. We are now number 8 on Rumble. We have finally beaten Alex Jones on Rumble. We are ahead of him. That's not my metric. That's Robbie's metric. So I'm just quoting here. But anyway, okay. I have to laugh, John, about this story about the presidential libraries.
Yeah, it's pretty funny.
So Donald Trump, as a sitting president, unsurprisingly, and he has a great facility for fundraising, is awash in donations.
Yeah, no surprise.
Like Obama, who he copies in more ways than I would like, he is he's likely not to want the National Archives to administer his presidential library, because if they did, researchers like you and I, John, could go and like pull up stuff that is appropriate for us to have.
Right.
So for Obama, in order to avoid that, and basically has set up a personal foundation to control his library, his hideous, so brutalist Soviet-style library in Chicago.
Hate it.
One of the most disgusting buildings in the United States. It's a big fuck you to the city of Chicago. But anyway, Trump is likely to do the same thing. Meanwhile, Joe Biden, poor guy, he's raised only $11 million for his presidential library. No one wants to donate money. I'm pretty sure his house in Delaware might not be worth a lot less than that. I know several people who have houses that are worth more than that. The houses aren't that impressive.
He's had an oceanfront house at Rehoboth Beach for decades. And I know what those houses go for.
They're like 3-4 million, right?
Oh, no. If you're a quarter of a mile in from the beach, it could be 3 or 4 million. Yeah.
The beach.
Yeah. Serious house.
Where you keep your classified documents next to your muscle car.
Yeah, exactly.
So I mean, what does this? I mean, should we care? I mean, first of all, I think there should be a law that you shouldn't be able to create a presidential library that's not under the control of the National Archives, for the simple reason that all the documents, both paper and digital, that are created in a presidential administration are created and funded by the American taxpayer.
And subject to the Government Documents Act.
They belong to us, to we the people.
Yes.
And no former president should be able to deny access to those.
That's right.
So to me, that's just that shit belongs to us.
I agree.
And then but that's Congress would have to act, and you'd need a president to agree with it and sign that into law. So that's not likely to happen anytime soon. I think once presidents accrue power of any kind, they keep it, and their successors keep it as well. What do you make of the fact that Joe Biden can't get any money for his library?
Joe Biden, in my view, is the Herbert Hoover of our time. In the late 18th century, the late 19th century, we had a string of, forgotten one-term presidents. That's Joe Biden. That's how Joe Biden's going to go down into history. Nobody gives a shit about the Biden presidency, just like nobody gives a shit about the Calvin Coolidge presidency or the Warren G. Harding presidency.
Although Scott Stantis would argue that Coolidge is a very underrated president.
Oof, I disagree.
Yeah,
I think Herbert Hoover was a very underrated president.
That's true. And it's a little unfair that he was blamed.
I agree. It is unfair because it was Coolidge's economic policies that gave us the. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. But I think that Joe Biden was a bad president. Mm-hmm. There's really terrible. There's nothing to show for his 4 years as president, except
he would argue that he fixed the pandemic. But the truth is, it's
Trump policies.
I don't believe
anyway.
I don't believe that Biden would have authorized Operation Warp Speed. I think Democrats would have wanted too many tests. They would have been like, we really have to make sure everything is like tip top shape. And
I think
Trump rushed it.
I think that's right.
I mean,
talk about a flip flop, huh?
Well, not to mention political suicide on Trump's part.
Yeah,
he would have been reelected if he hadn't done that.
I think that's what made so many Republicans sit on their hands on Election Day.
Yeah. For sure.
But Joe Biden, I mean, what's his crowning achievement? War with Russia?
Yeah.
I mean, that's what it comes down to.
Supporting Netanyahu and his genocide.
Supporting Netanyahu? He was a terrible president.
No, he was and not to mention there was no one at the helm. I mean, literally, he never spoke to the American people. There were no press conferences, no speeches. Nope. He literally, being a communicator is an important part of the job.
And think of it this way too: if you're a rich guy, what do you get out of making $1 million or multi-million-dollar donation to the Joe Biden presidential library? Nothing. I can see what you'd get with Donald Trump.
You'd look like a fool.
Yeah, you would. You'd look
although Bill Clinton raised money for his giant, crazy. Although it's a great looking library.
It is, but Obama's just looks. I'm afraid of it when I look at it.
Yeah, it looks like, it's like Pyongyang called. It wants its building back.
Seriously, exactly.
It looks like those. Yeah. So, by the way, Phil Chats is asking me if I made it through the Salang Tunnel when you went to Afghanistan, and yes, I did. The Salang Tunnel connects northern Afghanistan to southern Afghanistan through the Hindu Kush Mountains. It's a miracle of Soviet engineering, designed back in the 50s and finalized in the 70s, and it's been through hell. There's been battles fought inside the tunnel. Sections of it have collapsed. It is got dirt. It's got a dirt roadbed still. It's like full of dust. There's no ventilation shafts. It is a fucking beast. And you go through there and you're dodging trucks coming the other direction that are trying to pass people in the tunnel. And it goes on and on and on. It's a monster. It's one of the funnest things I've ever done in my life. But like, holy shit, what a weird experience. There's hardly any lighting in most of it because it's a piece of shit, because it's Afghanistan. Then nothing is maintained. It's a miracle that it's still standing. And John, let's see, quick question. We left a message he left this message. Ali said, did you know that Kuwait has implemented the death sentence for drug dealers as of today?
Yeah, they had the death sentence back in the 80s, and then they did away with it after the liberation in 91. I don't know why in the world they brought it back. Even the Emiratis don't have the death penalty unless the drugs are destined for the Emirates. When I was on the Senate Foreign Relations Committee staff, I went to Abu Dhabi to meet with the chief of the National Police. And he told me that. I thought it was just so nuts. But he said every single day they arrest or intercept Nigerian drug mules transiting Dubai airport. And if they have onward flights, they take the drugs and just let them go. And then they destroy the drugs. But if the trip ends in the Emirates, they execute them.
Do they shoot them or?
Yeah, they shoot them.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. Crazy.
Unsung Pat, thanks for the $5. Aren't these artifacts the people's? Yeah.
Yes.
They are.
Yes.
Very quickly, we got a minute left. I'm sorry we didn't, but maybe it only deserves a minute. Next year, 250th anniversary, nickel, dime, quarter. Basically, they've whiteified and dewokified the Biden's plan. Biden's plans were for Frederick Douglass, women's suffrage, civil rights movement commemoration, and desegregation. Instead, it's all going to be back to sort of the history that you and I grew up with in high school. White guys. Mayflower Compact, Pilgrims. I mean, to me, the part that I really object to is Washington, Jefferson, Madison. Washington, Jefferson have been on lots of money already.
Lots of money.
Madison, no. But, Madison was on one of those commemorative dollars, I think it was. They're one of the quote unquote gold dollars that are not made of gold. But I mean, those guys have had have been on money. James Madison, not so much.
Right.
So I don't know. What do you think? I mean, I guess the symbolism of a country does matter.
It does, and I think it's disgraceful. One of the things that I really love.
Surely we could have done both.
We absolutely could have, and Obama wanted to take Andrew Jackson off the $20 bill and replace him with
Harriet Tubman.
Harriet Tubman.
Yeah.
Trump nixed that. Biden did nothing to reverse Trump's decision. Right. And now Trump's in again, and people are already forgetting who Harriet Tubman was.
I think we could, we could create seriously, we could create a new bill and put Harriet on there.
Absolutely.
She deserves a place. Andrew Jackson's had a nice run. I'd rotate them out. That's what I would do.
Yeah, sure. Why not?
I mean, it's weird to me Lincoln's losing that money.
Yeah, I feel bad about that. But he's got the 5.
He does. Yeah. And the 5 is my favorite bill, by the way.
Yeah?
Like if you have, sometimes I go to, when you can choose your bills at the bank, we got to go. I'll get 55s. And then it's so convenient because everything's now, all small things are in 5s now. So tip for the car lot guy, $5. A lot of 5s. Anyway, John, always a pleasure. Looking forward to seeing you again tomorrow.
Good to see you, Ted.
Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. DeProgram with Ted Rall and John Kiriakou. Always here. Thanks for watching, following, and sharing the show. Don't forget to donate. You guys have been slacking on that, but we appreciate you. Shouldn't have said that, but whatever. Speaking of stuff we shouldn't say, TMI show with Ted Rall and Manila Chan coming right up where Robbie's about to raid the show. If you're on Rumble, it's going to be automatic. If you're on YouTube, you got to do it yourself. Bye, all.
Bye-bye.
Bye, John.